Kiro.dev is an AI IDE allowing you to build prototypes and production-ready apps similar to how you use Cursor to build your applications. To start using this AI-focused IDE, you should visit Kiro.dev. Over here, you have noticed you can download it for Mac. So depending on your machine, you can download the application for Apple Silicon or Intel Macs. This AI coding tool works just like Cursor or using WindSurf. Over here, they claim you can go from vibe coding to viable code. However, this tool focuses more on spec-driven development using LLMs in the code editor. Just like Cursor or WindSurf, you can provide context with files, code base, code, docs, and more. You can also integrate MCP to provide agents in the IDE with additional context. So just with minimal effort, you can set up your MCP tools and servers just like how you would do it in other AI coding applications. So let's look at its key features. There is autopilot, which works like the agent feature in Cursor. You can use the autopilot feature to work on large projects without giving detailed instructions. You can create rules for your project using Markdown files called steering files. With steering files, you can add context, coding standards, and your preferred workflow or tools. Its agent mode also supports different LLMs like Cloud Sonnet 4 or Cloud 3.7 Sonnet. As you have noticed here, it is compatible with VS Code, so you can import all your settings from VS Code. So to get started, visit Kiro.dev and download it for your machine. I have already downloaded the application, so I will launch it. The Kiro Agentic IDE is also a fork of VS Code. It looks similar to Tray, an agentic coding IDE from the team at TikTok. In this example, I want to show you how to use Kiro to vibe code an AI chat UI for a very simple AI chat application using the newly released Kimi K2 model from Moonshot. So let's open a project. Once you launch a new project in Kiro, you have noticed in the center of the editor, we have all these shortcuts. Most of these shortcuts are the same as those in Cursor. For example, you can show and hide the chat window with Command L. Command I opens an inline chat, so you can test all these other shortcuts. I'll go to the Files and Folders Explorer and open the file we are going to work with. We are going to vibe code a Streamlit app. So let's select the file Kimi K2 simplechat.py. Before we vibe code the AI chat UI using Kiro for this code, I want to show you what this code is all about. The Kimi K2 model was just released by Moonshot. This is a non-thinking model which has performance on par with Cloud 3.5 Sonnet. It is an open source model that excels in coding and math. So the Kimi K2 model is compatible with OpenAI. So first, I installed OpenAI and imported all these dependencies. You have noticed here, we have python.env. Installing the .env package helps to load my OpenAI API key and also my Moonshot API key from this .env file. So in this example, I created a new OpenAI chat client and initialized it with my Moonshot API key and its base URL, which is api.moonshot.ai/v1. Next, I created a new chat completion and specified the model I want to use, which is Kimi K2, that was released in 11 July 2025. Next, I added the messages field, which is a list of system message and a user message. So in this example, the Kimi K2 model is acting as a SwiftUI coding assistant. And with this prompt, we want to create a beautiful and functional SwiftUI drawing app using the Apple PencilKit and PaperKit frameworks. So before we vibe code the UI, let's run this example and see what we have in the terminal. To bring the integrated terminal window in Kiro, I will press Ctrl and backtick. Then I will cd into the files containing folder. Next, I will run the file with Python 3 and expand the terminal window. So you have noticed here, we have a response from the model. We have a summary of the features of the app. And as I scroll down, we have the SwiftUI code for the drawing app using PaperKit and PencilKit. Now that you have seen the output from the code, let's go and vibe code the UI using Streamlit and the Cloud Sonnet 4 agent in Kiro. So I'll clear everything in the terminal. So in this example, you notice the output is shown in the terminal. However, we can use Streamlit to build a UI for the app. Streamlit allows you to build UIs for the app you build in Python. So on streamlit.io, I will select docs and go to the installation section. All we need to do is to install it with this command, pip install Streamlit. I'll go back to Kiro and paste the command here. I will ignore this for a moment and press the return key to install it. So you have noticed here, Streamlit has already been installed. I installed that previously. So let's clear the terminal. To vibe code the UI for the app we just ran, let's expand the chat window. Over here, you have noticed Cloud Sonnet 4 is selected. At the time of recording this video, only these two LLMs are available in Kiro. So let's leave the option as Cloud Sonnet 4 and set autopilot to on. All we need to do to generate the Streamlit app for running this code is to add a prompt. So let's add a prompt to modify the code to create a Streamlit app so that users can enter their prompt at runtime to generate any SwiftUI code. So let's add the file as context. We should also provide Streamlit as context. So let's select the option URL. I will paste the Streamlit docs and continue. So with this done, I'll send the prompt. We have this beautiful animation from the agent when thinking about the project. So you have noticed here, within a short time, we have generated a Streamlit app using the Cloud Sonnet 4 model in Kiro. So in the chat window, you have noticed here, it outlined all the features of the app. And over here, it also shows how to run the app. When you hover on the command, we have two options. You can copy it or run it in the terminal. We get an error because we are already in this folder. So we don't need this part of the command. I'll clear everything and bring the command again. So I'm going to remove the part that is not needed and run it again. Now we have our beautiful AI chat UI using Cloud Sonnet 4, Streamlit and the Kiro AI IDE. Over here you have noticed we have the temperature set to 0.6. This was taken from the code. If I go back to Kiro again, in the previous example we had a temperature set to 0.6. So you noticed in the browser we have 0.6 as the default. You can also adjust it to any temperature you want. However, in the Kimi K2 model documentation, they recommend setting the temperature to 0.6. So let's leave it just like that and add the same prompt here. I'm going to copy the prompt from the code instead so that we can replace the placeholder with the actual prompt. As you have noticed here, you can also add an example prompt. But let's go with this one and ask the model. The Kimi K2 model is not a thinking model. However, since we are using the Streamlit interface, that is why we see this loading. So this is not an actual thinking of the model. We need to wait for a moment before we see the response. So you have noticed here, we now have a response from the model within a short time. This is similar to what we got previously through the terminal in Kiro. If I scroll down, you have noticed here, we have the actual code generation with a Streamlit interface. This is everything I have for you in this video. I encourage you to download the Kiro AI IDE and start building your AI apps